Why is it that men are advised to not marry or date women who have a high body count? Now, this is going to go to both men and women because unfortunately, even the men do not understand why they are warned not to do that. And unfortunately, most of them limit it to the sexual aspect of it. But in real sense, a woman with a high body count comes with a whole myriad of problems that could be detrimental to the relationship. And that's what I want us to discuss. And I'll take you back to a video I did where I told you that women evolve to like different things in men at different stages in their life. What she fell in love with you for is not the thing that's going to maintain the relationship essentially. So when you look at it, when they are young, say late teenage, early 20s, they tend to like very superficial qualities. The aesthetics, does he look nice? Is he handsome? Does he dress nicely? And this is why women who obsess over the K-pop boys or the aesthetics of a man tend to fall in that age group most of the times, yeah. And then when you get to the say early 20s there, maybe like 22, 23 there, they start looking for a bit extra aesthetics, but it's something else. Do you have something going for you? Are you an artist? Are you working or something like that? Something more. And then when you get to the mid 20s, that's when most of them start selecting for men with at least long-term prospects. So at that point, they're looking for provision. Is he a protector? Is he someone we can live with in the long term? And then if they miss that window, then we get to the late 20s, early 30s. At that point, she has gotten in the workplace. She's quite experienced. She's been exposed to different types of men. And maybe through her bosses and through her networks, she's been exposed to men who are highly intellectual, who have achieved a lot more. And that's why most of the women within that age group will identify as sapiosexuals. They want men who have outperformed them in terms of intelligence and exposure. A man who's going to come in and show her new things, introduce her to new aspects of the world, introduce her mind to new things. So different stages, different things. Now, unless we're talking about sex workers, for most women, every single guy that has been able to enter her body one way or another is someone who has at least met a metric of attraction that she values at whatever stage. And as such, that dude can be used as a data point for whatever that woman found valuable and was able to access. For instance, if she met with a dude, if she has a body count, say, of 7, for instance, at different stages in her life, the first dude was maybe a dude who was very aesthetically pleasing, well dressed, well groomed. She experienced that. The second guy, a dude with status in society. She experienced that. The fourth guy, someone who had, I don't know, wealth. The seventh guy, someone who is charismatic, all these things. These are data points that now exist in her life as a matter of experiencing those guys. And the unfortunate reality is when women are selecting for who they are going to end up with for the long term, they select this person relative to what they want at the moment versus what they've experienced before. And when they are saying yes to this guy, they are hoping that this dude is going to be able to meet every other need that the previous guy has had. Which is why when you fail at something, she always has an ex to compare you to. So when you look at it, the longer the list of guys that she's had in her history, those are all data points of different things or different variations of the same thing that she was able to experience in multiple men. And whether you like it or not, all those experiences are things that are going to shape her expectation when she's getting into that relationship with you. And these are data points that cannot be ignored because whether you like it or not, you're going to be subjected to judgment against those data points. Say you perform a certain way in bed, she has a comparison factor. Say boyfriend number 3, Brian. Maybe Brian was extremely good at that. And every time you're in bed with her and you underperform, she's always going to miss Brian. Let's say you introduce her to your work friends or the friends you have in general, and she sees how you interact with your friends. And if she doesn't like it, guess what? She has a reference point. Guy number 2, maybe his name was Kevin, and this guy was the magnet of the group. He was the ringleader in every social circle that he was in. He had that degree of status. She has a data point to compare to. Let's say, aesthetically speaking, the way you dress. If you don't meet a certain particular way of dressing, she has the fashion icon in her past, or at least a dude that dressed better than you do, or a couple of them. So when you look at it, the longer the history, the more the data points that she has to use to compare you with. And that means this woman is going to be that much harder for you to please. And it's not because you don't know how to please a woman, it's because she is just impossible to please, owing to the fact that she has had way too many experiences that are difficult to meet as a singular person. So when you're getting in a long-term relationship, just be aware whatever experiences this woman has had in terms of the different things she found attractive in a guy in her past, all those things exist as a data point in her mind. And at one point or another, you're going to be subjected to a comparison relative to those data points. And it's upon you, or at least that's what she hopes, it's upon you to outperform all these guys. So you can imagine the longer the body count, the worse it is. Compare that to a woman who has a very small body count, owing to a very minute number of experiences with men. And that gives you a platform to introduce her to new things and, to even outperform the previous ones that she had, even without you knowing it. And as such, she is gonna be easier to please in that relationship. And that is not necessarily a bad thing, it's a good thing, which is why you're advised always go for women who have way less experience sexually, because that is kind of a reflection of what she has dealt with in the past. The longer the body count, the worse she is to please. Now, most of you make a reference to the bedroom matters in terms of body count. Yes, she's also going to be impossible to please in the bedroom, assuming you are not as good as her previous exes or any one of her exes that was that much good, because that means she always has someone to compare you to. But that's not just the only thing that is at stake here. Every single need that was met, you're going to have to meet. Because if she fell with guy number 5, she fell in love with guy number 5 for his wealth, then you are always going to be compared, or your income is always going to be compared to that guy. If you make her happy in terms of, I don't know, your height, but not how you dress, she's going to be happy for your height. But she has a data point for guys who've dressed better. So you kind of get the point. So the longer the list, the worse it is for you. Now, the unfortunate reality is this data point exists regardless of whether she's in a happy relationship or not. Meaning, a woman could be in a stable relationship, perfectly happy, but still unhappy because she misses boyfriend number 5 because, I don't know, maybe he was very wild and fun at parties and she misses that experience. And you see that with women a lot. We see it with women a lot. Those of you who have been able to get women to open up to you from a point of their deepest insecurities, they know what I'm talking about. Or those who have had just a group of women speaking, of group of married women, when they are talking in terms of what they've experienced in the past versus what the husband has to offer, and you hear how they phrase it, it's not that I'm unhappy, it's just that, I just can't help but miss Brio because he used to be XYZ, XYZ. That's the problem. That's the problem. Brian is always gonna be a data point in reference to what he had to offer, and that is always gonna be in comparison to what you're offering. So the longer the body count, the more the data points, and the harder it's going to be for you to please this woman. So always make a wise decision. Don't date women who have high body counts. Don't.